Hello and welcome back to Thrive 365 podcast episode number 19. Your host Kevin Metili. We are on video format. I'm excited. I've been waiting forever to do video. And just to realize that my camera had an issue which went unresolved for 6 months. But when you really desire to do something, you will go through thick and thin to get it, right? So I'm just getting accustomed to this feel. There will be improvements, but you've got to start somewhere, right? I'm excited. So in this episode, if you're new to this podcast, Thrive 365 is really about thriving, flourishing, being the best version of yourself. I'm taking on an adventurous journey to become better. Now, I think that's the goal of life, to always become better every single day. Hence 365, every single day of the year. So I'm doing this pod today following an event that happened, and I feel like there's a big lesson that I'm currently gleaning from the event, and I feel like I can share with you. So something happened, something that was shocking. There was an accident back in town, hometown, Moshi, Arusha, and I lost my loved ones. 4, 5, 5 to the exact. At a go, right? Four of them passed away. And passed on. I think that's the right way to say it. Passed on, and then one eventually passed on after being admitted in the ICU, and they eventually, passed on. So there was 2 of my aunts and 2 of my cousins, right, and a family friend who is a close friend, who we regard as family as well. So 5 people, and it took the entire family as a shock. Like that was like, my goodness. So we traveled the next day. It was like 2 days later? 2 days? Yeah. After 2 days later, right? 2 days later. If you're wondering who's that? This is my cousin is working on the side, so he's going to get involved one way or another. So if he jumps in, just know that I let him jump in, So I think that's one of the beauty of this podcast. What I want it to be is very authentic, very open, very conversational. Nothing staged, scripted, but it should have a theme and a direction. So it's like, I would say it's scripted, unscripted, right? So we traveled by bus. Let's talk about the bus a bit. For some time, I used to board bus A. I won't name the brand. And I was so accustomed to brand A. I grew up with that brand. My parents told me, you should board that bus all the time. I felt like if I don't board that bus, I'll get an accident. So I built a belief around that bus that this is the bus. This is the bus. The Holy Grail, the Holy Grail bus. And then this time around, my mom called me and told me, hey, what bus are you boarding? Still, moms will be moms. I told her, I'm boarding the bus A as usual. Or also I thought my brothers booked a different kind of bus. So we waited. It was the morning of 3 days ago. I think it was on a Thursday, the morning of Thursday. So we woke up, my brother woke us up, all of us, and then we went to the bus stop where the bus was supposed to pick us up. And then this guy told us that they would be there at 7 a.m. sharp. We were there, we went there, and lo and behold, we had to wait 7, 8, 9, 10. We had even to take breakfast, so it was like a painful wait. I was getting frustrated. Everybody was getting frustrated, but we were just making fun out of it. Like, okay, we know, we have weaknesses and everything, So I was like, I hope these guys are going to apologize. What are these guys thinking? Those were the thoughts that were running around our minds. And then the bus arrived. I got into the bus. I came across the person, the attendant, and they apologized. I'm like, The moment I sat on those seats, hallelujah, my pain, everything was gone. I was like, I thought that the bus A was the Holy Grail bus. What happened to this bus? This is a cool bus. You look, the ambience, the seats, the feel. I'm like, this is a good bus. I enjoyed my journey. There was so much space. So we're going back to Arusha. Okay, enough with the bus story. So we arrived, stayed at my cousin's place, and it was really a moment of. It was very sad. People were grieving. There was a lot of crying, which obviously you should expect that. You've lost a loved one, and throughout that time, I couldn't fathom. Honestly, it was hard to fathom, to know, okay, I was with these people last Christmas, and that's why I want to talk about this, and this is the angle that I want to bring this with. Last Christmas, I was with the entire family. There was so much hospitality from these guys. They invited me. We went to Christmas. I went to Arusha for Christmas. So I was with them. We ate some really good chapatis. I met the the mother and both of them. Both aunts. They were there, and their son and their daughter. So they were all there. We had this nice time. We ate. We enjoyed. And I remember one of the deceased is an 8-year-old girl and a 16-year-old boy. And one of my aunts should be probably around 40s or 30s, and the other one should be around 40s and 50s, And the other girl was a 23-year-old girl. So these are very young, right? The three of these people are very young. And I remember this young man, to be specific, he came to me, after I went to my cousin's place, and I was using his camera and everything. He came to me and he asked me, hey, I love to dance. Do you mind if you could record me do a couple of moves here and there? I was like, I thought about it. And I said, okay, sure, I'm going to do that. So the next day I woke up, he came, we went to a specific location. It was a church location. Very nice, very, very nice ambience. And for the first time, I think it's for the first time I started directing somebody how to dance. I consider myself as a fair dancer, not so much good dancer. So I was like, hey, I think I know what story you can tell. So I started engaging with this young man, and put up the camera, put up the stand, and I started shooting him, And he started doing some moves. After we selected a few songs, I remember he danced to Chris Brown's Beautiful People, and I introduced to him KB, I think it was Armies, and I was just sharing with him, hey, you can do this, you can do that, do this. And he started dancing, and I just started shooting him. And at that moment, he was living his dream. That moment, he wanted to dance. He was dancing. I shot, 30-minute worth of content. And after that, he asked me, hey, can you put this video in a flash and everything? And I was like, okay, I will do it, but let me edit it first. So it was still in my computer by that time, And I was like, okay, I'm gonna share it with you. And he was going to school the next day, I think, after a week or so. And little did I know that this young man was gonna pass on. And that was the first and the last video they ever made that now rests in my computer. So sad, but rather not but and. If you look at it, you could take the two paths. There are two paths to this. You could just say, hey, that was so sad and everything. But sometimes we think we have a lot of time, and we are waiting for something. At the age of 16, at the age of 16, I'm thinking I have 70 more years, 60 more years, 50 more years. What if you have 1 year left? That is scary, but think about it. How many things have I held thinking that I still have time, right? How many things have I held thinking that when the time comes, and the only legacy that this young man has is a video that he recorded. And I thank God he did, because it still is in my computer. I'm going to edit it, and after I do, I think I'm going to share it with the family to keep it as a memory for him. But it really got to me from that angle. That little girl of 8 years old you might think she had a whole life ahead of her. The young man at 16, you might think he had a whole life ahead of him, which is true. But did you know, how like it took us, shockingly, it was a shock for their lives to come to an end that fast. And I'm bringing my question to you. Do you think you still have time? If you do, what are you doing with it? How many dreams that are still lingering in the basement of your house? How many dreams are still in the corners of your heart? How many things that you should have, could have, or must do, or should do that you are not doing, and you think you still have time? He didn't. Maybe that was just a test. Did he know? He didn't. And for me, it's really about how you're going to make the most of that which you have. So yeah, it was a really sad story, and you can only glean a lesson from it. It's already gone, and that's the lesson I'm bringing to you. But other than that, I'm excited. I really want to talk still about the camera setup, because there's a way I have waited for the last 6-7 months. Okay, let me connect these two. I think these two come in a very, they're simultaneous. After the event, I started asking myself questions, like real questions, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what exactly am I doing, and what am I waiting for? Those questions made me start thinking about, what's the next step? Like, what's my goal in life? Like, what really is my goal in life? Like, if I had, like, let's say the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to come, what would I do with it? Like, do I have a plan? Sometimes you think I have a plan. Like, I have a plan, it's structured and everything, blah, blah, blah. But was I serious? Sometimes you can have a plan, but you can do it by the way. Like, they say you should have a plan, so I have a plan. It's here, it's documented. You see, look, I have goals. But are they your goals? Do you own them? Are they yours? Can you wake up in the morning and say, this is my goal, and I am going to be proactive in doing what is required of me to do to make these things happen? Or is it just a by the way goal? I feel like most of the goals that I made or I have been making, they were out of, I just have to have goals, right? But not really resonating with those goals, and feel like these are my goals, owning those goals, so that when you just have them, you wake up with them, you act with them, you move with them, and you know these are mine, right? And it's this event brought that home. It's like, hey, these goals, do I have goals? And if I do, am I working towards them? And it really also brought the thought of the next generation. What am I doing for this generation and the next generation? You might see what's happening around social media, different agendas, a lot of stuff is going on. You might feel like you don't have a part to play. Oh, it's too big for you to do anything. Maybe not. Because the fact that you are here, it says that you have a part to play. If you didn't, then you would have stayed, I don't know where. You wouldn't have come to earth. Like, there will not have been a John, an Abraham, a Martha, Lisa, or I don't know, whatever name that comes to my name right now. You know, there wouldn't be any of those, right? You wouldn't be here, right? So the fact that you're here, you have a part to play. And the next generation, this generation, is not really waiting for some alien from outer space. The problems that you see, you have the ability to solve the problems that you see that are nagging you, that are just making you feel like, somebody should do something about this. Well, probably that somebody is you, and you're pointing fingers to yourself, thinking that you're pointing fingers to the person who's supposed to be responsible, which is you. You're the one who's supposed to be responsible, right? So it really made me think about this generation and the next generation. Like, who's gonna be there? Who's gonna train the next generation? Who is going to build the next generation? Who is going to make the foundation for this and the next generation? Who's going to make the way for this generation? And it's very easy to start looking for somebody, and the reality is, I like what Michael Jackson's song says. What's the name? Mirror something. Man in the mirror. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. I'm standing with the man in the mirror. You look into the mirror, what you see is the man or woman to make that change. And I think that's the focus of this episode. Things happen, events happen, everything goes, everything comes. But in the end of the day, you need to go back to the mirror. It all should reflect back to you. What are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? I'm excited for the video format again, because I think we're going to do more videos in the future episodes. And in fact, the last week, and I think let me share this with you. Last week, I brought in a friend who had a condenser microphone. What happened is we set up the condenser mic. We got the audio interface. For you don't speak audio language, I understand. It's okay, but there was an audio interface, that little sound card thing that cleans up the sound and makes it sound beautiful. And there was a condenser mic. I've been always looking forward to that. I wanted a condenser mic. We're gonna get one, right? So they came over. We started, setting it up. We did set up. It was nice. A little bit of audio issues. We ended up recording a voiceover, etc., etc. But the beauty is this. This person came in because I started recording with this, right? This is a lavalier mic. I think it's a lapel mic. Don't know what the name is yet, but I think it's that. Get mixed up here and there. Somebody else reached out to me like, hey, I've been listening to your podcast, and I think I can give you a hand with the audio. I think there's some tech issues. I'm like, great! You've noticed tech issues. That means you could be the person to solve. So of course you have to check what are their agendas and what they're looking forward to, what's in it for them. You've got to check those things, because you never know what intentions people have when they come to join you. So I shared that to say that when you are doing it, that's when the people show up, right? That's why I say I'm very excited for the video format, because I know as I keep on shooting, I'll get better and better looking at the camera, because I'm going to mess up as I'm doing it. Being comfortable with recording like this for a long time, and keeping my, thought, the thread. I like calling it thread, because I think it's Twitter. Twitter makes me think of the thought thread. I like it. So other than that, I'm excited for the next episode. We're going to do video from now on. And so thank you very much for watching and listening. So I used to say listening, so now I'm going to say watching and listening to my podcast. It's just amazing. And when I went back to Arusha, I'm gonna drop this. I was shocked. My relatives said, one of my relatives came to me and said, hey, podcast. I'm like, podcast? You listen to my podcast? Two more mentioned my podcast to me. I'm like, hey, okay. Out of these 7 listeners, if not 9, some of those were my relatives. Interesting. it's interesting how many people you could reach or who you can reach by what you do. So it was really encouraging, to be honest, and I'm excited again for this video format. So other than that, this is the Thrive 365 podcast, and it's on YouTube, I believe. Also, I think it should be. It's on YouTube, right? This podcast. Yeah, it will. I felt like I asked the guy who is dealing with social media. Yeah, it will be on YouTube as well. So looking forward to future episodes. Other than that, feel free to follow us on these platforms for more of this stuff. Other than that, cheers and have a great time. This is the Thrive 65 podcast. It's your host, Kevin Metili, and bye.